Hi, I'm Terry, and welcome to Cat Scratch Kitchen. We're in the midst of the holiday season now. I'm going to give you 4 recipes just in time for your holiday gatherings. Let's get started. We're going to make 3 appetizer recipes today that you can use for your next party or to take to a party. They're all easy. Just take a minute or two to put together and you're all ready. The first one is a cranberry cream cheese spread. You're going to need 8 ounces of softened cream cheese and then just a couple of things that need a little bit of prep. I have a half a cup of dried sweetened cranberries, and we just want to chop them up a little bit so that they mix in with the cream cheese a little better. Just a rough chop. And they may seem kind of dry now while you're chopping them, but when you put them in the cream cheese, as they sit, they will soften, so they'll be really easy to eat and easy to spread. Just add that to our cream cheese. And now I have half a cup of mixed dried fruits. This particular mixture came with peaches, mangoes, apples, pineapple, and I'm going to do the same thing. It's in pretty small pieces to begin with, especially the apples, but the rest of it, I want to make sure that it's about the same as the cranberry, so I'm going to give it a nice rough chop. And you can also use just a particular type of dried fruit that you liked. You could use dried apricots, that would be really good. Anything that you're particularly fond of, you could use instead of a mix. And we're going to put this in with our cream cheese as well. And lastly, I have a teaspoon of grated orange peel. Now I'm just going to use my hand mixer, mix it all together so that it's well combined. Now I'm just going to put it in a serving dish. You could also make it ahead of time, put it in a container and refrigerate it. Take it out maybe an hour before you're ready. Get a knife and make this a little bit more presentable. Now just place it on a serving plate with some savory crackers. It works wonderful with savory crackers. And something to spread it with, and you're all set with your first appetizer. Now we're going to make another appetizer called marinated cheese. It smells and tastes terrific. It's wonderful on its own, and also with crackers or toasty French bread. Start off with, we need some cheese. I'm using a white cheddar, some Gouda, and some cream cheese. All I'm going to do is cut it up into cubes. Now I've seen this recipe made where they sandwich together the cheeses with the cream cheese in the middle, and it looks pretty, but it's a lot of work. And when your cheeses blocks are not the same size, it becomes even more so. But it's just as delicious in cubes mixed in the marinade. I'm going to leave them about this size just because it's a good size to go on a cracker. And I'm going to put them all in a bowl. You could also put these in a jar with a glass top that seals, sort of like a Weck jar, and give it as a gift. Keeps in the refrigerator almost indefinitely. You can use any proportion of different cheeses that you want. Mozzarella works wonderful because it soaks up the marinade really well, as does the Gouda. Use a little bit smaller cubes of the cream cheese. Helps if your cream cheese is really nice and cold. I'm going to set the cheese aside, and I've got my recipe here so I don't forget anything. We're going to mix up the ingredients. First, I need 1/4 cup of pimentos. You want them drained, and we're just going to rough chop them. I'm going to put that in a large measuring cup. It's an easy thing to mix in. You could also mix it in, put the ingredients in a big jar that has a lid that you can then shake it together. Next, we need 1/4 cup of olive oil. I need 1/8 cup of balsamic vinegar and 1/8 cup of white wine vinegar. And we're going to add that to our oil and pimento. I need 1.5 tablespoons of chopped green onion, just the green part. You could also use chives. I'm going to add just about 1/4 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. I need 1.5 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley. I like to get the leaves and less of the stem. They don't have to be finely minced, just a rough chop. Next, we need some fresh basil, only 1 tablespoon. That's probably a heaping tablespoon. We need 1/2 tablespoon of sugar. I need 1.5 garlic cloves. I'm using the refrigerated kind. That's going to be about 1/2 tablespoon of the minced. I need 1/4 teaspoon of salt. This is a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'm going to use 1/2 of this. And the same amount black pepper. Now we're just going to whisk it all together. All those spices and herbs marry together. Now I'm going to use a small container. You can do this whatever size you want and as much cheese as you want. I'm just doing a small amount here. It's probably about 1/2 of a recipe. Put my cheese in it. You could obviously do this in smaller cubes even, so that you would just use a toothpick to eat it with. I think it's best on a cracker. Once it's marinated, it also makes a fantastic filling if you want to stuff a chicken breast. Now we're just going to take our marinade, pour it over our cheese. Just kind of spread it out so that it initially gets all over everything. You want to make sure your container has a lid. I'm going to put that on. Make sure it's good and tight. Give it a good shake. Make sure that everything inside in the middle there is covered as well. Now you're going to put it in the refrigerator. It's best if you put it in overnight at least. 24 hours works great. Then take it out. You can put it in a serving dish. You can serve it in this along with either a spreading knife or little picks if you want to be able to just eat it like that. Put it on your table and you're all set to go with another appetizer. This recipe is a small little appetizer-sized tart. We're going to make it using wonton wrappers, and it has Gouda and ham in it. How can it be wrong? We'll start with 1 slightly beaten egg. Put it in a large bowl. 2 tablespoons of minced green onion tops or chives, and 1 tablespoon of red onions minced. Need 1 tablespoon, 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, and 2 teaspoons of honey mustard. and 1 teaspoon of pepper. This is a half teaspoon, so we're going to use 2 of these. I'm just going to mix this together. Now we have 1 1/4 cups of a shredded Gouda and 1/2 cup of real finely chopped ham, like a deli ham. And we're going to mix it all together. And lastly, 2 tablespoons of chopped cranberries, dried cranberries. And that's our tart filling. I have a miniature muffin pan, and I have wonton wrappers. So I have 12 wrappers here. We're going to hit them with a cooking spray, and then we're going to place them in the pan with the coated side up. Try to make the pleats that show up kind of go to one side so that they don't fill up with the filling when you start to fill them. We want to put about 1 tablespoon of filling in each tart. And they're ready to go into the oven at 350 for 10 to 14 minutes. So there you have it, 3 delicious additions to your holiday table, all tasted and approved by my family. I hope you enjoyed them as much as we did, and give them a try this year. They might become your new holiday tradition. Next week, being just before Christmas, we're going to take the week off, but we are going to post on
Friday
some holiday music and some beautiful scenes that you can use to add to the ambiance of your holiday gatherings, and we hope you really enjoy it. As always, the recipes are in the description box below, along with a link so that you can print them out for yourself. And while you're there, take a second to subscribe if you haven't already, and also hit that notification bell so that you don't miss the next recipes we have coming up. Until we see you in the new year, have fun in the kitchen, and we'll see you next time.